The story began with this, a cheap point-and-shoot camera. This is in the days before smartphones. It shoots extreme macros. I thought I could shoot a story with that camera.
Accidental.
Enter photographer Amanda Moore, who had a thing for Holgas and Lomos and other cheap plastic cameras.
Got my first.
So I shot a story about cheap plastic cameras with a cheap plastic and metal camera, an audio recorder, and a borrowed lav mic, and I think one pro light.
Probably.
I interviewed Moore. The lighting wasn't the best, and then I played around with the interview, framing her through a viewfinder, through an old Rolleiflex, that's a Rolleiflex, and shooting her reflection. Cue the laugh. I knew I wanted to find time for that. Shooting tight meant I could really sequence, break actions up into little pieces. Putting film in the camera, removing film from its canister, putting the cartridge in the camera, and pulling on the leader. Before I finished the shoot with Moore, I said, "Hey, could I get some of the files of your photographs?" This allowed me to take the images out into the field, to shoot the picture of a hummingbird with hummingbirds, to shoot a picture of the state fairgrounds at the state fairgrounds, and to shoot this picture in the Great Salt Lake. So I had my interview and I had the pictures, I wrote the script, and then I planned out the rest of my visuals. Maybe I could find some old Holgas and Lomos at the second-hand shop, I thought, and I did. That gave me some more B-roll and stand-up opportunities. This, a stand-up reflected in film, a stand-up through a viewfinder. Because I was working with a cheap point-and-shoot camera, I really had to MacGyver things. I literally scotch-taped a neutral density filter to the camera so I could knock down the light level in hopes I could lower the shutter speed and blur the cars in this shot. I also shot it at sunrise just for that very same reason. For this shot, I used some play blocks as a makeshift dolly. To keep the nat sound crisp, I close mic'd everything I could, the cameras, the bird feeder, the Great Salt Lake. The moral of this story is to make do with what you've got. You may have a crappy camera, but that doesn't mean you have to shoot a crappy story. Amanda Moore.
I'm Amanda Moore. I'm a photographer and artist.
Takes great pictures.
Each time it's going to be different. It's like a fortune cookie.
By accident.
Accidental, completely unpredictable.
She makes these accidents happen with two things. First, this. Remember this? It's called film. And the other thing? Plastic.
I got my first experience with toy cameras in art school in Atlanta, Georgia.
Cheap.
A crappy plastic lens.
Plastic.
A crappy plastic camera.
Toy.
Imperials, Savoys, Lomos.
Cameras.
Holgas, Dianas. Ah, that's a picture I took of a Diana with a Holga. Brownies, Anscos. I've been trying to stay off eBay. I should probably join a support group. Probably.
These are cameras you can't really control. Cameras you can't even focus.
This is an image I did of a hummingbird. There's a book by the New York Times art critic called Accidental Masterpiece. This is an image of the spiral jetty. Things come together for the individual images, and it's things you can't control.
This one's out of focus.
This one's completely out of focus. You have no idea, this is just driving, what the results will be. Sometimes you get a really sharp, crisp-looking negative. Really? That came from a crappy camera? And you're almost disappointed.
Do you own a digital camera?
I own one point and shoot. It was designed by Gwen Stefani, and it was purely bought because I thought it was cute, I'll be honest. Images from my Holga or Diana cameras become my imagination around the events. They are soft, dreamlike, and often reduce the image to shapes and colors.
Often perfect for Moore's favorite subject.
Club 50 Cafe on the highway into Ely, Nevada.
A rusty,
absolutely decrepit,
abandoned,
antique storage units.
American West.
Completely abandoned man-made landscapes. I think there's a real beauty to them. The Utah State Fairgrounds, it's almost like a time machine, the large gazebo they have in the center. I've never been a backwards thinker, but I am a backwards visualizer, and there's something weird about that with me.
Someday, Amanda Moore says she'll go digital.
I'm not ready.
But not
I'm
yet.
just not ready to change over yet.
For now, she's very happy to take a chance.
I just think that the release of control is a really nice thing. It always feels like when you get a really nice shot, that would be Rodney. It's Melvin. Like you've almost stumbled upon one of these accidental masterpieces.
Trying.
And you just go for it.
Something.
And you hope for the best.
Different.